So we were discussing about the second dot. The what we discussed is the first dot, and we'll be discussing different dots, and we'll be connecting at the end all the dots, connecting dots. That is very important. So the second topic that I would like to begin with is that classification of working capital, and there are two aspects of this. One is concept aspect, and another is time aspect. Concept aspect, there is first thing, gross working capital, another is a net working capital. So in general, working capital, especially CMA US point of view, working capital is nothing but net working capital. Unless and until it is not given to you gross working capital, so that is nothing but the current asset. So gross working capital in a broader perspective, not the CMA US point of view. Some definitions will be given by those institutes only. So CMA US, IMA has given the definition that working capital in general refers to net working capital. Please note this particular point, don't get confused. However, we are discussing industry perspective. So gross working capital means current assets. Net working capital means current assets minus current liabilities. And what are those current assets, current liabilities? We already discussed in the ratio analysis, and still I will be giving more detailed notes once the topics come into the picture. So I will be sending you those things to you with all the definitions. But as of now, we are focusing on a bigger picture, those things. And current assets and current liabilities, these all definitions we discussed in the ratios. I'm not going to repeat. And then time point of view, we have two types of working capital. One is permanent working capital. Another is temporary or fluctuating or seasonal working capital. Seasonal working capital. So what is the permanent working capital? Permanent working capital is nothing but it is a minimum level of investment required in the business at all points of time. So what is the minimum level of business? One is inventory, another is accounts receivable. Anyhow, you have to manage. So एक inventory decrease हुआ तो फिर next another inventory come into the picture. एक account receivable collect हुआ तो और एक account receivable फिर आप वापस आ जाके बढ़ेगा. More or less, it is the minimum level of investment required in the business at all points of time, and it is also called fixed or hardcore working capital. Okay, this is the thing. Minimum level of investment required in current assets. Minimum level. Okay. It is also known as hardcore or fixed working capital. And what is temporary working capital or fluctuating working capital or the seasonal working capital? It is also known as variable working capital. So it represents working capital requirements over and above the permanent working capital. So this is the portion of the what? Fixed asset. So then what? Not only fixed asset, we need working capital. So this is the working capital needed, right? फिर इसके ऊपर से हमको एक वर्किंग कैपिटल की जरूरत पड़ेगी और एक वर्किंग कैपिटल की जरूरत पड़ेगी, and that is a seasonal working capital, right? So this is the permanent working capital, and this is the temporary working capital or seasonal working capital or fluctuating working capital. So this is the concept of this. So it represents the working temporary or seasonal working capital or fluctuating working capital requirements over and above the permanent working capital. यानी permanent working capital के बाद over and above जो भी है यहाँ पर, ये जो working capital है, ये जो है ना आपका temporary working capital in a season के लिहाज से, according to that, it is dependent on factors like peak season, trade cycle boom, etc. वो मेन टू रीजंस आर देयर. पीक सीजन होता है ना, हर एक बिजनेस का एक पीक सीजन होता है, एजुकेशन सेक्टर का एक होता है, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर का फेस्टिवल्स में होता है, ऑल दीज थिंग्स आर, एंड ऑल्सो इकोनॉमिकल कंडीशंस, बूम हो रहा है, डाउन है बिजनेस, राइट, ऑल दोस थिंग्स. So it is called fluctuating capital, variable working capital, or seasonal working capital. So these are the concepts of the working capital. So I'll explain with this thing chart. See, this is the value of asset. This is the value of asset in dollars. So value of assets are what? We have two types. Amount of fixed assets. This portion is amount of fixed assets. This is entire working capital, amount of working capital. So this amount of working capital is divided into two parts. This is what? Permanent working capital. This is what? Fluctuating working capital. This is what? Timeline. ये देखिए, इसको हम बोलते हैं ईयर वन, यहाँ लेंगे ईयर टू, यहाँ है ईयर थ्री, समथिंग लाइक दैट, वन टू थ्री. सो दीज आर द ईयर्स. ये पूरा आपका फिक्स्ड एसेट है. दिस इज फिक्स्ड एसेट पोर्शन. So x-axis is there, right? This is timeline. Understood? In years, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. Understood?
Yes.
The y-axis is your value of asset. I'm interested in this. Value of assets. Here assets means यहाँ देखिए, ये फिक्स्ड एसेट्स तो रहेंगे, यहाँ क्या है? वर्किंग कैपिटल है. ये जो फिक्स्ड एसेट्स है, फिक्स्ड एसेट जब एक ईयर का फिक्स एसेट ड्रा करेंगे आप, 1 ईयर, स्पेशली शॉर्ट टर्म डिसीजन मेकिंग जैसा सीवीपी एनालिसिस में है, फिक्स्ड एसेट लाइन ऐसा जाएंगी, राइट? फिक्स्ड एसेट लाइन, दिस इज विद इन ए ईयर, दैट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड, राइट? बट ओवर ए पीरियड ऑफ टाइम, बिकॉज फॉर्म एक्सपैंड्स, व्हाट इज गोइंग टू बी हैपन? योर
Investment.
हाँ, इन्वेस्टमेंट इन फिक्स्ड एसेट विल इंक्रीज. तो स्लाइटली यहाँ पर इंक्रीज हुआ है. दिस इज दी ये लाइन. इसके ऊपर वाली जो लाइन है, ये देखिए, यहां भी, यहां भी, यहां भी, यहां भी सेम फंड्स हैं आपके, सेम फंड्स, राइट? सो इसको हम बोलते हैं परमानेंट वर्किंग कैपिटल. स्पेशली टू थिंग्स आर देयर, अकाउंट्स रिसीवेबल एंड इन्वेंटरी. आपका मोर और लेस जो है ना, एक ही रेंज में मेंटेन होता है, राइट? दैट्स द
जी.
थिंग. अब जब वर्किंग कैपिटल कभी रिक्वायरमेंट आपका ज्यादा होता है, अब ये ईयर वन में देखिए, ये यहां तक जो है आपको ईयर वन में यहाँ ज्यादा हुआ और यहाँ कम हो गया. सो दिस इज सीजनल वर्किंग कैपिटल, यानी आपका पीक सीजन होता है अपने कंपनी का, आपके प्रोडक्ट का, नेचर ऑफ बिजनेस का, और बूम रहे तो भी, ऑल दोस थिंग्स. सो एज वर्किंग कैपिटल, so this is a fluctuating working capital. You need to understand this for your business. आप अपने बिजनेस को, जब अपने कंपनी को देखते हैं, तो आपकी होटल इंडस्ट्री है, किसी का कंस्ट्रक्शन है, किसी का इंश्योरेंस कंपनी है, किसी का मैन्युफैक्चरिंग है. You need to understand this.